This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock.
Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me at CGB, and today in the arena our deck is sponsored by IT Career Questions, and this is going to be a different one. IT Career Questions is a YouTube channel that you guys can go check out. Zach Hill is a fan of my channel, sent a donation in and sent a deck he was hoping I'd be interested in playing. So if you have IT Career Questions, please check out IT Career Questions, the YouTube channel. And thank you, Zach Hill, very much for sponsoring today's deck. But as with many things, Magic is about, what's Magic really about, right? Self-expression, preference, experience. Like, one of the great things about Magic is all the things in life kind of come together and we get it out through playing these cards. And what I mean by that is when you have certain experiences that tell you certain cards are good or that certain things worked, you tend to overvalue those, you tend to develop biases, but you also just tend to stick with what works for you. And as always, when I am sent a deck, because I have these biases and because I have these experiences, I can't usually just sit back and play a deck and not think about it and not try to do something with it, especially when I see a deck that I feel is pulled in two directions. So this is a Bant Aura deck. A lot of you suggested a Bant Aura based deck after seeing my green-white deck. And I'm going to tell you right up, I think the green-white deck is everything that this deck is without Win More. And I think that Win More is Staggering Insight, and I think that Win More is Dream Trawler. But we'll get into all that because I don't think that the green-white Aura's deck needed that to win, and I think that splashing a color has significant cost. You have to run Pain Lands. There's a lot of things with that. But if we're going to do a Bant Enchantment deck, I want to take advantage of the things that it's good for, and I feel like this is pulled in two different directions. One of the interesting cards here is Starlit Mantle. This has enchant a creature you control when it enters the battlefield. Enchant a creature gains hexproof till end of turn. Enchant a creature gets +1/+1. The 2 mana cost of this card is interesting because you want to basically use this like a negate that's also an aura. You want to play one of your key creatures like a Cetessan Champion, and then you want to cast a Starlight Mantle and protect it when the opponent goes to remove it. And the thing about that is you need like 5 mana and so on and so forth. And it's one of the reasons I feel like this deck is pulled in two directions. It can't be too aggressive. It needs mana both to play its threats and protect them. And we're running 21 lands and we're running a 6 mana Dream Trawler. So I feel like what we have are two decks mashed into one. We have the end game of Dream Trawler and kind of a value game based around that with the enchantment shell that gets you there. And we have the early game where we want to play a Paradise Druid, throw Sentinel's Eyes, Staggering Insight, and all that glitters on it, and smash, smash, smash. And some of you might say, why not a deck that can do both? It can, but it's got to have the tools to do it. 21 lands, even with Paradise Druid and Willow Haven in your deck, it just isn't enough. It's just not enough. You might say when we start drawing extra cards, but you get no guarantees that your card draw engines come online. Good opponents will disrupt those. So I felt like this deck was pulled in two entirely different directions. These cards are very mana intensive, and they definitely build on the idea that if we have a lot of mana, we can do cool things with them. While as a lot of these are kind of early game cards and a shell that can work on its own if you can get your Staggering Insight down on a creature that's protected or something that you're able to protect with another card like the Alseid of Life's Bounty. So one thing's for sure, if we're going to go in this direction, we probably need at least 3 more lands. If we're going to go in this direction, we don't, but we still need to fill in the deck with a few key pieces to try to figure out how it works. So I'm going to show you 2 different builds that I think fit this design, and then we're going to play some games with each. And that's going to be today's video of trying to take a deck and build a cohesive direction, because you can't have it all in one deck usually, unless that deck's Azorius control. Just kidding. So this is the more early game version. As you see, we keep a pretty low land count, but even then I play 22 land, and we play Cetessan Champion as our only 3-drop. Everything else is 2 or less because we really want to get to a point where we can play turns with multiple spells. And we have Staggering Insight, We have the Warbar Blessing, Season of Growth, All That Glitters, that package. Paradise Druid is still here. We have one Nessian Wanderer to help us find more land. We don't have a ton in the deck, so it won't hit every time, but it's like the 5th Paradise Druid, kind of. 3 toughness is really good against certain decks in the format, and the ability to just find and hit more land drops is good. And then down here, I have some other cards. One thing that I hated about some things with the other deck was that you have Staggering Insight, but you have no ways to make really anything unblockable, unless you count Dream Trawler, which is super expensive. This card without evasion means it's not actually going to hit the opponent and draw you cards that often, which is the best thing about the card. The lifelink is a bonus. So this is Fairy Guide Mother, which has the Gift of the Fae Adventure mode, which also has kind of a sweet synergy with Season of Growth, as it can draw you a card when you have a Seasons of Growth out. It can give your champion evasion, but it also creates a 1/1 evasion creature on its own that you can put Insight on. So if your opponent goes turn 1, let's say Forest Pelt Collector, and they might be on some kind of a mono green thing, and you have Fairy Guide Mother into Staggering Insight, that might draw you 3 or 4 cards and gain you 8 life and help you put the game out of reach very quickly. Another card that you may not have expected to see in this build is Hardcover. This is an aura that when it enchants a creature gives a +0/+2, and then there is a tap to draw a card and discard a card. Very good on something like a Paradise Druid. It's a cheap aura that can help us filter through our deck, find the right things, and if you put it on something hexproof, it gives it a nice big booty so it doesn't die very easily, and you can tap it on end step to do some draw and discard, and it's a 1-mana trigger for Season of Growth. So I like Hardcover quite a bit. It teams up very well with Sentinel's Eyes, which gives vigilance so that you can both attack and do the loot ability. And that, I think, is a good draw to blue that I haven't seen in any other decks so far. So this is my low to the ground aura build. Let's play a game or two with that, and then we'll switch over to what I think is the bigger build, which is the Bant Enchantments powering Dream Trawler. This is Zach Hill's unmodified list, the original, the one that I think is trying to do too much, but we're going to give it a chance. This 21 land Dream Trawler build is going to go into ranked. You get 1 shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime, yo. And look at this hand. Look at this hand. I'm going to try not to pick on the deck the whole time, but if this were a castable creature, we'd have a hand. All right. But really, do I keep this? If I draw any creature, Season of Growth, and that creature is on, but it would have to be a 1-drop. So I think it's a mulligan. Now we have Paradise Druid. And again, I have a Dream Trawler, which the only job this thing is to go to the bottom when I have to mulligan because of it. I swear that's the only job it has. Blood Crypt, oh no. Well, Hexproof might come in very handy. Are you the Cat Oven type, or are you just gonna knight me to death? Butcher, sure. Frustrating, but there you go. Here's the Druid. I think I just have to trade this for the Butcher because it's going to outscale me very quickly. Oh god, and with Priest I definitely have to. Oh, no attack. So they're setting up Priest to make me sacrifice my Butcher. I'm screwed. I am absolutely screwed. Alright, so here is a Paradise Druid. I can't afford to tap one because of Claim the Firstborn, so I just have to pass. This is, by the way, the worst matchup for any of the Aura decks that use Hexproof. That's why Hunted Witness was also a key card in my build. Because this, Priest of the Forgotten Gods, Hunted Witness, it's kind of amazing what that little card does for the deck, but I mean, this game's over. Like with this build, we have no recourse of any kind. This is a disaster. Well, we'll see. Maybe they'll make a mistake. All right. So on end step, if we tap anything, they can sacrifice the Butcher to kill one, and the Priest with the sacrifice kills the other. We can't tap these at any time, not even instant speed. It's a disaster. All right. I'll play this Season of Growth. Maybe I'll end up using a Starlit Mantle in response to something? Let's think about that. If the opponent tries to Dreadhorde Butcher, the one that I tap in response... Like, if I put in All That Glitters on one, but I tap it to do it, then the opponent will sack a target here. I play a Mantle on it. I still have to sacrifice one of them, but my opponent gives up their board, and they may not be able to use the mana. It's definitely messy. Okay, I need to tap the right one. And we're going to hide the blue source. We don't want them to know that's coming. So I'm expecting them to sacrifice Dreadhorde Butcher to Priest of the Forgotten Gods and target this one. When they do that, I'm going to crack Fabled Passage and cast Starlit Mantle on the one that's targeted. Then I'll still get the choice of what to discard, or which one to sacrifice. And they'll at least be down. So there is the targeting. So let's surprise them a little here. And then maybe, if I'm lucky, they can't rebuild and use the Priest again. Probably my best hope. Because we are going to get 2 cards. Maybe we'll also get a creature and a Warbriar Blessing. All That Glitters #2. So there's Hexproof. Did I hit the wrong one? No, I didn't. So which one do I sacrifice? All That Glitters is going here. So I can sacrifice this one. Because we want to draw this card. I guess we get the card anyway, but you know what I mean. We want to keep the All That Glitters creature. And okay. Okay, we made you do something. Let's see. Yeah, you're fine. Everything here is fine for our opponent. There's nothing wrong. There's the claim. Yeah. Yep. We did not get to play good Magic. Maybe Dream Trawler will show up. This can get killed by Priest of the Forgotten Gods. Dream Trawler, it's not unbeatable. It's just that blue-white can protect it. This deck doesn't protect it. It just throws it out there and says, I've got a cool toy. That kind of win more stuff is a disaster. A disaster in ranked. Good players just absolutely crucify you for that. Crucify you. Let's try out a Sentinel's Eyes here. If we get to resolve some toys. Okay, another All That Glitters. We're trying. Although I have a feeling this too will die. I don't have anything for 1 green or 1 blue. These basics are rough in this deck. But we'll try it. Might as well draw the card and try to see if we make it another turn. So what the opponent can do here is bring back the Woe Strider, which is pretty slick. And that will give them enough creatures to make sure that this dies without gaining any life or doing anything relevant. It makes me so sad. It makes me so sad. We've lost to 1 card. We got absolutely soloed with this build of the deck. We could still draw a creature and play All That Glitters and draw Warbriar's Blessing. That is still something that could happen, probably won't. Yep. We could have sacrificed it, paid 1 mana just to give this protection, but I don't think that's going to be very relevant. And the card off the top is a champion. Okay, let's sack this first because we're going to need to scry. What color mana am I going to need? I need another Warbriar. I need a Warbriar's Blessing. Is there another basic forest in this deck? I don't know. We might not actually have the land. Let's go find out. Okay. So we'll grab another forest. I don't think we're going to have a chance to play Staggering Insight. nor would we want to if we drew one. We need to draw Warbar's Blessing, Sentinel's Eyes into Blessing. That's the line. Let's do it. Feels bad. One draw. We get one more. Ready? Rip. Do we play another All That Glitters here? I think so. There's nothing we can draw for 1 green. We may as well be mana efficient as we prepare to die. And there's a Starlit Mantle, which wouldn't have saved it from the Priest of the Forgotten Gods anyway. And another Sentinel's Eyes. Cat comes back. Down to 4. The opponent just needs a creature here. And they not only have a creature, they have the creature. So this puts us at 2. This attack puts us at 1, and then we're dead. And I don't need to wait for that. Yep. Deck is the epitome of greed. The Deba 24. So we can go get a green source, turn to Wanderer or Season of Growth. Probably Wanderer. Then we'll still need to locate a white source, but when we play Season of Growth, we get to search for a land. So we'll get the chain moving pretty quickly. Our opponent will play mono red because that's the only deck anybody plays. I don't make this up. I literally play so much mono red every single day across all formats. Ranked, unranked. Ooh. Do we want this? Do we want this? It's a little awkward because we're not going to have a white for Sentinel's Eyes unless we top deck it, and we don't want to block with it. I think we actually want this Wanderer. I think this is a very good blocker for the Scorched Spitter. The opponent might have Infuriate, but that takes a big chunk of their turn. Okay, they have Runaway Steamkin, so no attacks. Love it. All That Glitters off the top. Let's see if we can find a white source with Season of Growth, because playing this will let us search with Wanderer. If we find a white source, we can Sentinel's Eyes this turn. Miss. It's gonna happen sometimes. Because we don't run that many lands in this particular build, which is why I only have 1 of these. Hopefully we hit next turn, though. Okay. That's just a trigger for Light Up the Stage, I suspect. And I think it's worth a block with the Wanderer. They might have a pump spell, some kind of a trade, or they might have a shock as well. But we can go Paradise Druid into Sentinel's Eyes next turn. But yeah, it was all for a Light Up the Stage. You have to remember they might make a play like that, and of course they reveal the shock. All right, well that's a bit of a tilt. They might have had another one anyway. But I'm really curious as if they have one more land. No, they don't. And we draw another land. So I think Sentinel's Eyes with Setessan Champion is really strong here. We could also play a Paradise Druid into an All That Glitters. Both are really good. Paradise Druid All That Glitters is a 4/3, so it could block this Runaway Steamkin. I think I like that quite a bit. Plus the opponent can't move it out of the way. Setessan Champion draws more cards, but I think I like Paradise Druid more. I should have done this second, but now that I've seen that there's a Staggering Insight on top, cracking this and shuffling would be bad. So I'm actually going to go with the Sentinel's Eyes and get this Staggering Insight, because I don't think my opponent can beat it. So I made a little mistake, but it paid off and it shouldn't have, because I got probably the best card in my deck for the matchup. Now the opponent's going to have a super explosive turn, and we're going to have to figure out, like, this has to be enough to come back. It probably is, but the opponent may literally play their whole hand and beat me to death with it. It's possible. It is possible, because that's what red does. And that's why Runaway Steamkin has been the best 2-drop in the world since it was printed. And alright, down to 2 cards. It's all this versus my Paradise Druid now. It's on, baby. It is so on. Let's go get white. We can't block a darn thing either. Very curious if Embercleave is one of these cards. Well, they left this open, but I think it would be a huge mistake. Oops. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it is. I don't think they kill me. They might. They still might have a burn spell on top of all this. It's possible. Down to 3. For your next trick. So, we'll play the Staggering Insight. And the All That Glitters. And see what happens. So, I have an extra forest. I don't think that there's much I could draw here that I could cast with it, unfortunately. Like, if this were a Plains, I would love to play this. But I can't. So that's 8 life. And if they don't block, it's another card draw. Maybe I'll get that Plains. Come on, Plains. One time. We might make a big difference in this game. Okay, kind of. I'll go for it. A little bit bigger and a little more lifelink. In theory, it can save us damage and pays for itself. This is a 1-mana aura for next turn. I guess I'll keep it. I don't know if there will be a next turn. That's rude. Oh, they went face. Okay. Now what? They must have drawn something nice. So the first strike is a huge problem. Because they might be able to kill me before I get my lifelink. Life. So I've got to figure out how to try to pair up on this. And I think I have to put the Life's Bounty in front of the 3/1, just so that I don't die to first strike damage on the stack. Like this. And that I still get to deal my lifelink damage. Wow. Our opponent had a good draw. Not much I can do about it, that's for sure. And this is a case of, like, I feel like the Pain lands really cost me in this matchup. Because we should be pretty favored, but we just can't be. We can't be when this happens. Alright, so we bring out the champion. What are we trying to draw? Staggering Insight? How do we do it? We bring this out of the graveyard. Okay, we have to play this first. Play you. Scry for Staggering Insight. Like, this doesn't actually help me. I have to have lifelink. Alright, play this and draw Staggering Insight. Somehow I failed in my mission. Not particularly surprising. Alright, well, one more to see what it looked like. And yeah, didn't get there. Yeah, we'll try this. We can go get a white source, play Season of Growth, play champion, and hope good things happen. And of course, people only play mono red. I should have known. I'd love to show you a variety of matchups. I don't get them. It just does not happen. I like having Season of Growth here, though. We get to play around Shock, although not much of the cards in our deck actually play into Shock. Ah, turn 2 Steamkin. What an interesting card. Ooh, that's a big draw. Not only does this get around Shock, but we get to take Steamkin out. Yes, yes, please. I'm getting my revenge. I can feel it already. If we had been able to do this last game, it would have been a piece of cake. 3 toughness is just too much for the red deck. It just can't, there's nothing they can do about it. No lightning strikies. Alright, so they have Annex the Hardened in the Forge. Let's bring out our champion. Staggering Insight on top, beautiful. Let's play the Sentinel's Eyes. They can block our bounty, but we would gain life from it here. We could also just try to suit up our champion to be a mega champion. I wonder what's better, really. Probably suiting up champion, to be honest. But this is free 2 life, and 2 life matters. 2 life matters. We're against red. Oh, wow. Dubs. We're going dubs now. Uh-huh. So we don't have to block here. They can't really Embercleave. They might Pump Spell, and that's fine. We'll gain a lot of life back. There's no reason, though, to risk our creatures. Yep, flexing over here, but that can't block. This is going to get ugly quickly. I kind of wonder if they're going to scoop. That wasn't so hard, was it? Revenge! Well, yeah, this hand plays itself. We're on the play. I don't remember the last time I was on the play 3 times in a row in ranked. I'm running hot, although we still lost to red once, but it happens. But yeah, let's go straight to the lifelink. Then we can go Paradise Druid. Ooh, Wanderer is interesting, though. I think we do Paradise Druid. The Hexproof Thread is great. The mana ramp is great. There's a lot of good things to come here. Blue-white. So now we have to start trying to figure out how to pace our threats. We definitely want to resolve Season of Growth. So let's play Wanderer so we hit land drops really well from here. We should be able to keep it on the field for at least 2 turns before the sky gets shattered. And then we play this. We want to make sure that resolves so we can keep hitting land drops. I think that taking these lands is fine. It gives us more land versatility. Our life total probably doesn't matter. Now there's an 0-4 to think about. And a Glass Casket is the play, going right after the Paradise Druid. Okay, that happens. Second Season of Growth. Oh yeah. Start the party. Take the passage in the deck, shuffle up. Let's get more white sources. More white sources, the better. And we'll do this before we do any more scrying or drawing. So this draws 2 and finds a land, and this finds a land. Let's go ahead and move in. I guess you're what's getting suited up. And whiff on the land search. Life is hard. So I could play this to search for another land right now, but I'd take the shields down. I don't think I like taking shields down. So let's attack. I expect the opponent to play a Shatter the Sky at some point. They probably want to try to deny me things to put auras on. But the Sentinel's Eyes comes back again and again once they do that. The fairy. I can protect this. The opponent would probably then use it to bounce a Season of Growth. I don't have to respond yet. I can wait and see what they do.
I'm known for my excellent timing.
Okay, just a plus. Makes sense.
Trust me, I have a plan.
Insight. This is 3. Man, if I had a way to get this to 4, it could take out the wall. Because of Blessing. Let's see what we draw. Draw, draw. Another champion, another land. How do I get deeper? I guess I do the Warbriar Blessing anyway. I could also just attack the Teferi and then fight with the Warbriar Blessing after to make sure that the wall dies. I think that's best.
No more games.
Draw, draw. Kill it. Dig. Didn't find it this time. Okay, so we want an untapped land. The opponent knows about the island. That's probably fine, but I really just want to keep playing these like dual lands to give myself as much flexibility as possible later in the game. We'll go like this. Like I said, my life total isn't likely to matter, and having your lands able to tap for multiple colors because you have these turns where you do a lot of things matters. So we'll do this. Hold on, what are you targeting exactly? You're targeting the Wanderer. So if I give this protection from blue, it loses the Insight. If I give it protection from white, it loses Sentinel's Eyes as well. I kind of want Sentinel's Eyes in the graveyard. I get to recast it. Not a bad idea. Plus it protects it from a glass casket if that's what comes next. That's okay. I like Staggering Insight, but this isn't the matchup where it matters most. Wow. Straight up shattered the sky on that. Kind of surprised. Alright, let's bring out the champ. Champ is here. Paradise Druid's a good draw, so we'll keep that. And we'll draw that off the bounty. Always want one of these to go with our premier threat. Should have ordered that differently. I must have the triggers automatic. There are some decks where you want it automatic where it actually doesn't matter. Maybe I just forgot to do it. Anyway, they scoop. So the rest of that turn is Sentinel's Eyes. Put that on the champion. Play an untapped land, leave it to protect, say go, discard a bunch of land, etc., etc. Now that we've checked out the low to the ground aura build that tries to get there and play a ton of spells in a turn, let's check out the version that leans harder into going over the top with Dream Trawler. Some key enchantments that I find for that build is you do want your Nessian Wanderer and Dryad of Elysian Grove engine to ramp out a bunch of land. You want Wolfwillow Haven to try to get you to your big plays quicker. Staggering Insight in this deck is kind of awkward. As you see, there's not a lot of things to put it on, but you can put it on the Dream Trawler itself or the Paradise Druid once it has a Sentinel's Eyes. But we need to stay alive longer, and a big part of that is using cards like Banishing Light and Elspeth Conquers Death to remove the opponent's best threats, and also Calyx Destiny's Hand, one of just fitting in here to kind of turn your Wolfwillow Haven into an Oblivion Ring. Happens sometimes. And in the mana base, we're at 24 lands this time because we really want our Nessian Wanderer to hit more often. We want our Dryad to have extra lands to play, and we want our Dream Trawler to come down on time. We also lean into Dream Trawler a little harder since we're going to all this effort by playing 3 of them. So this is the slower, more control-y Bant build. Curious to see how it performs, if it can kind of tango with a mono red, things like that. We have Banishing Light and Elspeth Conquers Death for those runaway Steamkins and those Annex. So yeah, we're going to give this a shot. Well, the opponent's on the play, but we do have Wanderer into Champion or Light, so hard to argue with keeping the hand. And we'll see if the opponent has some immediate threats for us. Sentinel's Eyes, ready and willing to do work. This card is a lot better than I ever thought it would be. Knights. Well, we know Knights. They haven't changed much. They have pretty much no new cards. They're just this strong, assertive game plan that kills you very, very fast. So we'll try to shut that down as quickly as we can and see what our opponents... What are you up to? What's your next turn? Is it a Regisaur? Yep. So they're looking for the next turn Embercleave. We've got a... I would love to take a turn to send out my Dryad to do some work, but I just can't do it. You can't give any time to the opponent here. Can't give them the chance to Embercleave you the following turn, so we will play the Wanderer, or the Banishing Light, activate the Wanderer. We have a plane, so the castle is strictly better than the Hallowed Fountain, or than the other planes. And they could have Fervent Champion, and I don't think attacking them is going to be the priority here, so I'm just going to hold back. And man, am I going to have to find a Staggering Insight in this matchup, because the life total race gets very real very fast. 14. Second Crusader. Okay, they've got the mana for the Embercleave next turn. I don't know if I can stop them. I can play Dryad, play 2 lands, play Paradise Druid is the most defense I can muster. I guess I can start that party with a Wolf Willow Haven. But no, then I wouldn't also be able to play the Druid. I could also play this Cetessan Champion and throw an aura on it to draw a card. I think that's a little bit slow though. I want to ramp my way to Dream Trawler pretty quick. So let's do this. A lot of options. We already have a number of basics. I'm going to take the Forest. I'm kind of at risk of running out of basics. I could play the Passage here and crack it, but I just put 2 lands on the bottom of my deck, so that's not good thinning, that's bad thinning. It actually puts more lands back into rotation. So we'll just go like this. I think my opponent has the Paragon, so let's just hold back. Yep, there it is. Cards. No insight yet. Definitely need a Staggering Insight. By the way, Dream Trawler is not good at all against Embercleave. You just get rolled by it. And here they come. The opponent knows that there's really nothing I can do about this. So we want to force their blocks to be awkward. Like, this is okay. Double blocking something is pretty bad. But if they Embercleave it, they can only kill one, but then I can't kill the other. Pretty rough. If we block like that and they Embercleave it, then they kill the Dryad or the Druid, and then they kill the other. They kill both, but they at least lose the Embercleave creature. And if we block here, they don't have an easy re-equip. But now if they equip here, they deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and I die. So that's not okay. So it's probably more like this, so that they don't have an easy re-equip afterwards, and we block here and they kill both of these. It's not good either. We could save the Paradise Druid. If they equip here, they do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Just rough because there's no good way to do it. Alright, let's try it. Oh, what do you know? They had it. Alright, Staggering Insight or Death. Down to Uno. Go ahead. They'll probably take the Dream Trawler, but the Dream Trawler doesn't help me very much. And it would be a huge investment of mana. I think what they should have taken is the Cetessan Champion because it gets me extra draws. So let's start there. Doesn't really matter how we tap. Just figuring it out. That's rough. So I'd have to shock to play these, so I need to do better than that. This I might need the blue from. Don't think I can do it anymore. Yeah, the pain lands are definitely crushing me here. Crushing my spirit. The land. But we didn't get there. We didn't get a way to gain life. So that game comes to a bitter end. As even with the Banishing Light, our setup, and even with a lot of things we wanted, just wasn't good enough. And Dream Trawler, in that situation, was just... It wasn't set up for success. Well, we have Insight and Champion here, and we go first, but our hand's exceedingly slow. Well, we'll give it a try, and hope it can find its way. I'm wondering if I should fetch a green right away. I feel like I should. There's a lot of... Like, a Nessian Wanderer would make a big difference, and so would a Paradise Druid. And there was a Paradise Druid on top, but we had to shuffle it. Okay, do nothing. We'll see if that comes back to bite us. Is that the game right there, that we just threw away 2 turns to our opponent? So going for Champion here is so awkward because they might have a Domri's Ambush or something of that nature. But they also might just play a Questing Beast. So I'm willing to give it a try. I think the best thing that could happen to us is for this Champion to work out and live. Rule Spellbreaker. Pump that Pelt Collector. Alright. Well, the Champion's still here. Let's go ahead and take down the Spellbreaker at least. Pump up the Champion. Hit a tap land, say go. Elspeth Conqueror's Death looking lovely. Really curious if the opponent has Questing Beast. They usually have a lot of haste cards in this deck. Just something to really swing this game. Oh look, it's Embercleave. If we block here and they Embercleave, we at least trade. So I guess that's what we go for. Alright, now we can Elspeth Conqueror's Death that Embercleave. But if the opponent has a Questing Beast here, we're going to be way behind and probably get tempoed out. Another Pelt Collector isn't scary. I mean, this one alone is very scary. And you see that there's pause here, so there's some kind of a Bone Crusher Giant or something. So I think this is where we play Staggering Insight on the Champion, make a huge blocker, and hope to survive. We could Banishing Light this, which is okay, but if the opponent end-step Bone Crusher Giants, and then on their turn plays any haste creature, we lose. So I think we need the lifelinking body. I guess they can't Bone Crusher on the end of turn anymore because of the Elspeth Conqueror's Death ability, but I still think this is the better play because any shock or extra land might be able to do it. Now the question is, another Embercleave? This game's on the edge. We had a slow start. If we had gone second, it would not have been close. We're very lucky that we went first with that hand. Interesting. Well, I'm blocking. I'm blocking because Elspeth Conqueror's Death is going to bring something back anyway. And we gain the life. And okay, the opponent moves in with Domri's Ambush, says I have to get rid of this card. And get back our Champion with a counter. Now we can play Elspeth Conqueror's Death or Banishing Light to trigger the Champion again. We could also pay 2 life and Dream Trawl. Let's go for it. We didn't come all this way to not play the card. Hellkite. Sweet. It's gonna come at me probably. And it pumps this. Oh god, we're in trouble. They should attack with both. They didn't. If we double block, they can take down the Dream Trawler. I gain 3 life. Then I play Elspeth Conqueror's Death. I exile this. Alright. I mean, this is fine. Let's get that off the field. If they had attacked with both, I'd be in a much worse spot. I'd probably still do the same thing, but they'd get 5 damage through. Oh yeah, they put a counter on this. I'm stupid sometimes. I think we all miss things occasionally. And in this case, it didn't really affect me because it was my opponent's decision, not mine. Draw, sweet. A little more mana. Never killed anyone. Or did it? And we could hold this back to play around Questing Beast. This is one of those cases where we could be trying to close the game. We haven't seen a Questing Beast yet. I'm just going to play around it. I think a longer game favors us. We have Elspeth Conqueror's Death ticking and a Dream Trawler in hand. And there's the Bone Crusher Giant. So, Banishing Light that, Wolf Willow Haven, like lots of good stuff going on here. Insight, that's clutch. And that will wrap it up. This hand is on the play, which is wonderful. We don't have any enchantments yet, but I'm sure we'll draw them, and we have plenty of plays to make, so I'll keep it. I'll play the Temple Garden tapped so that any untapped land off the top, like an island, can play one of these. Our opponent moves right into Fabled Passage mode for a white source. Let's go for the Druid. I'm going to need that Wanderer down sometime, but without any enchantments, I'm not sure. Oh, okay. So the opponent has 2 mana open. We can go Setessan Champion, Sentinel's Eyes on a Druid. It's pretty cool. We can also go Nessian Wander, Sentinel's Eyes, and keep it X-proof. I think I like that too. Let's go for this. Maybe the opponent will do something about it, maybe not. Quench? Sure. We can play that back out of the graveyard when something happens to our creatures. It's okay. Teferi's obnoxious, though. But at least we have 2 creatures down to get rid of Teferi quickly. Quickly and cleanly.
I've got it.
Staggering Insight. Kind of tempting to smack face with it and draw the card. I don't know, though. With Shatter the Sky coming up, it's also kind of worrisome. Like, what's the right reload after Shatter the Sky? But we do have to take out the Teferi. Instant Speed Shatter the Sky is a huge tempo loss to this deck. It can't be ignored. So if we're going to be playing the Insight anyway, I think what we want to do is play the Wanderer. Play the Insight on the Druid. So we get the land off the Wanderer. Yay, every resource can matter here. We are the Dream Trawler deck now, remember? Hit there, gain the life. Say go. If the opponent plays Shatter the Sky, we untap, we play Champion, we play Sentinel's Eyes, we get the train rolling. There it was. Vanishing Light. I think I'll sacrifice this first. White mana is usually what you need to have up your sleeve. And we have all of our colors pretty well represented here. Fire away. I should have left a white open in case I drew another Sentinel's Eyes. That was a little mistake. Yep. Same old, same old.
My responsibility. Let's try this.
But that Sentinel's Eyes comes back again and again, and the opponent sets up for Quench, perhaps. So here we go. That resolved too easy. They don't have Quench. Again, can't afford instant speed sweepers. Got to keep moving Teferi off the battlefield. The tempo loss is just too great. We don't get that opportunity to rebuild and smack for damage. That's not good. That is brutal. Will we draw our own Elspeth Conqueror's Death? No, we will not. I guess I'll save these. I really want to draw Season of Growth or a way to take advantage here. But that was probably the key turn. We had to let our feet off the gas. Ooh, or did we? Well, this will probably be countered, to be honest. But a little bit too late on Dream Trawler here. A little bit too late. I think we had to try. Obviously, with Teferi coming back the next turn, trying to get some kind of a threat on the battlefield was important, and we just couldn't do it.
I've got time.
Yeah, this game is over. We'll have a hexproof threat, potentially. See what happens there. Does the opponent shatter the sky in response? No? Alright. Work on Teferi. Yeah, there it is. Oh, they should have done that, though, before. But now I get to draw a card. But it doesn't matter if it's all land, does it? Alright. That's enough of that game. Let's review. Things went the way I expected it. So, again, this is our original deck, which I'm saying is pulled in two directions. Having very few lands, but big old Dream Trawler, having Starlit Mantle, 2 mana, hopefully grant hexproof, enchantment, things of that nature. And then we tried out 2 different decks. One was very aggressive, low to the ground, built around the idea of suiting something up quickly, getting a lead, and then staying ahead. The other was built around getting your Dream Trawler down after delaying the opponent long enough and keeping them busy with your threats, so that Dream Trawler could take over the game. I think that everything played out the way that I expected, to be honest, which is that these slow decks trying to grind out a little bit of advantage and then play a power card like Dream Trawler are simply too slow for the Embercleave decks, but have a worse endgame than the blue-white control versions. While this is more proactive than blue-white control, Shatter the Sky really kind of shifted the tempo where we just can't get a good foothold on the game, and they have no problem using Teferi into Shatter the Sky to blow up our whole game plan and keep the pressure off them. So this build is just too slow to get good pressure on the opponent, which means that they can pretty much play to whatever we do, and then resolve, of course, the mighty Teferi into the Shatter the Sky, and our Dream Trawler gets countered, or we just don't have enough counterplay with our own Dream Trawlers. It was a pretty awkward thing. Dream Trawler was too slow to handle Embercleave, and it was too slow to get under counter magic against blue-white control. So in a shell like this, I think that you have to ramp harder for Dream Trawler and give up on the enchantment package, because it's just a lot of dirtle without accomplishing much, especially Staggering Insight. And that's where you see like Bant ramp builds and things like that do very well. On the other hand, Staggering Bant, there were definitely times where getting the lifelink from the Staggering Insight was key in shifting a game and made Staggering Insight look good. But the reason I maintain that it's a win more strategy is because my other deck could do that with Hunted Witness. If all that you need is the lifelink, you can play Hunted Witness for 1 mana, half the price of the Insight. You get a block out of it, and then you have this 1/1 lifelinker that you can throw your enchantments on and go to town, which is why, and the mana is just smoother. So I like Staggering Insight, and I can see some desire for it, but I think the shells being presented for it in Bant are very poor. I don't think it lines up the way you want to, and I think that the right build for Staggering Insight is a blue-white deck built with a lot more evasion and counter magic in mind, as opposed to maximizing on the fact that it's an enchantment. And I think I'll do that deck in the near future. I hope that gives you some ideas to how I look at decks. It's very, very common that I get sent deck lists that I feel are being pulled in 2 directions, and nothing pulls a deck in 2 directions more than a combination of cards like Sentinel's Eyes and Dream Trawler. And I hope that this video was helpful. Also, so that's why, you know, it's me, it's CGB. I'm the guy for the Magic questions. But if you have IT career questions, I wouldn't know the first thing of what to do. So I would go to YouTube and I would check out IT career questions, the channel. And thank you very much to Zach Hill for sending in the deck. I hope you found this style informative, and it gives you some ideas of what to do with Bant auras, or if you want to stay with the green-white aura shell. And thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.